When do you think was the last time that homes in Canada were considered affordable? It was 19 years ago. Having access to housing that's affordable is important for everyone in Canada, and yet the last time that it was considered affordable was in 2004. To reach that level of affordability, we need to increase the housing supply, plain and simple, but the question is by how much? We're gonna get into that right after this, but I want you to stick around because I can guarantee you're gonna be absolutely shocked by how far behind we are in our housing supply and how the most recent policies being implemented by the government to improve housing are barely going to make a dent. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything that there is about living in Vancouver and the surrounding Vancouver suburbs, then subscribe below. And then right after that, tap that bell for notifications so that you can be the first to learn about the current Vancouver real estate market and everything that you need to know about the city of Vancouver and its surrounding areas. My name is Jonathan, and our team here at the Vancouver Life Real Estate Group, we get calls, we get texts, we get emails every single day from people just like you that are looking to make a move to Vancouver, Canada, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving here in the next 90 days or 90 days, just give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, or schedule a Zoom call. You'll find that link right down below in the description, and we'd love to help you make a smooth move to Vancouver, BC. A report by the CMHC, the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, was just recently released last week, and it was titled Housing Shortages in Canada, updating how much housing we need by 2030. This report highlights how important it is to increase housing supply if we are to make housing affordable for everyone in Canada. But what does that really look like? Last year, the CMHC estimated that we need an additional 3.5 million housing units by 2030 to make housing more affordable and bridging kind of what they call the housing supply gap. And this gap is the difference between what our current housing supply is and what we need. And keep in mind that this doesn't include anything that's expected to be built during this time. This is 3.5 million units on top of what is already expected to be built during that time. They looked at two different scenarios. First, a high population growth scenario where immigration trends continue with their record-setting immigration they're going after, and growing that can push those units from 3.5 to 4 million units. On the flip side, they did a low economic growth scenario with different immigration policies lowering that, and that could shrink to maybe 3.1. So we're still 3.1 to 4 million units short. Now here's the other catch. Housing supply responds slowly to increased demand. So while immigration can surge, it can actually take years for housing to catch up. And in British Columbia, we might see a relatively neutral impact overall on demand, but the supply gap will increase due to the low number of projected units that are being built and are planned to be built. And just to clarify, for CMHC's affordability target is to bring it back to affordability levels lasting back in 2004, which is when things were considered, in their mind, affordable, and was before the massive price growth that we've seen, particularly over the last decade and expanding beyond that the last 2 decades. Now let's talk about what the government is doing to tackle these challenges. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has just announced some measurements last week in an attempt to improve the housing situation that unfortunately is only going to make a small dent. As a country, we build about 250 to 300,000 homes per year, and the CMHC reports that we'll be short upwards of 4 million on top of what we're already going to build. So we're a long ways off. Here's what basically Trudeau announced, is that they're removing the GST on all new rental housing builds. It's essentially aimed at encouraging new development, as it will improve the margins for builders and be an incentive that might tip them over the edge financially to say, hey, okay, we're gonna move forward, we're gonna go after this project and build some purpose-built rental buildings to be able to help the rental housing shortage that we also have going on. On top of that, the government has introduced the Housing Accelerator Fund, and they've made their first municipal agreement, a $74 million deal with the city of London, Ontario. And essentially the deal will fast-track the creation of over 2,000 housing units in the next 3 years, with thousands more to follow, they say. The units will include high-density development without the need for rezoning, which basically opens the door for duplexes, triplexes, and small apartment buildings, all near public transit. And the catch, though, municipalities have to have plans in hand repealing or amending exclusionary zoning policies to access the fund. So essentially, through the Housing Accelerator Fund, the government is aiming to create 100,000 net new housing units across Canada, and they're incentivizing municipalities to try and cut the red tape and update their zoning and permit systems for essentially speedier approval and construction to get more homes built. And as much as they say that it's going to create 100,000 net new homes, I just don't know where they're going to find the labor force to make that happen. And Plus, we all know how cities have a tendency to be just a little bit slow when it comes to making changes and reform to their policies and procedures. Hopefully, the further measures they are planning to implement build upon the space and create the potential for better housing affordability for all of us. Unfortunately, I think it's a ways off, and the current data points towards prices continue to go up and go up quite dramatically through to 2030, even with the recession that we are currently in and which looks like it's going to continue well into next year. I want to note on that the supply gap is substantial, and this is going to be a long road that personally I don't think that we're going to fix with the current lack of resources that we have to be able to build and how far behind we are. And right now, due to the expensive holding costs that there are for developers and interest rates, we've seen a 20% decrease in building permit applications at the municipal level, meaning that we're going to feel it at an even greater level in 2 to 4 years when these projects would typically end, and with the government's record-setting immigration goals that they have through to 2025. If you want to chat more about how this affects you specifically in your situation, whether you're looking to buy or sell, then go down in the description right down below this video and give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or book a Zoom call, and let's connect on your situation and what the best avenues are to pursue and what that might be for you. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and then click that bell so that you can stay informed about the Greater Vancouver real estate market, as well as learn about what it's like living here in Vancouver, BC, and be the first to know about what's happening.